You've probably searched it before. How to earn money online. It's a question that promises so much, but let's be honest, usually delivers very little. Well, today we're cutting through all that noise. We're breaking down a real world experiment where one student actually tested 5 popular online hustles. The best part? He started from scratch, with zero investment, just to see what really, truly works. And look, this quote basically sums up the whole problem. The student who ran this experiment was just as skeptical as you probably are. He was fed up with all the online advice that just felt like a waste of time. So he decided, you know what? I'm going to put 5 of the most talked about methods to the test myself. All right, so let's get the rules of the game straight. The person doing all this is a 16-year-old student. His starting budget? A big, fat 0. The whole point was to find methods that anyone could start without any cash. And most importantly, this is all about the real results. No theories, no hype, just what actually happened. So let's dive right into this quest for some actual, honest-to-goodness online income. We're going to walk through every single method step by step and see the wins, the failures, and all the lessons he learned along the way. And the first one up is something you probably haven't even heard of, which makes it super interesting. So the first thing he tried wasn't freelancing or trading. It was being a creator manager. Now, what's so cool about this is how simple the idea is. You're basically a matchmaker. You find brand deals for content creators, and in return, you get a slice of the pie. It sounds almost too easy, right? But the real question is, does it actually work? And here is the exact game plan he followed. He started with an AI-drafted email, offering to find creators brand deals for a 20% cut. Now, the key insight here, the really smart move, was his target, micro-influencers. See, these are creators who are big enough to get deals, but often too small to have their own manager. After sending out over 20 personalized emails, the real work started, finding brands and actually closing a deal. And boom, here's the result. A big win. He connected a creator with a brand for a 20,000 rupee deal, and his 20% commission was a cool 4,000 rupees. The big takeaway here? This method actually worked. Yeah, it took some time and a lot of emails, but with zero cash invested, it generated real money. Okay, so one success is awesome, but let's be real, not everything went that smoothly. It's time to move into the next phase. The section is all about the grind, where some ideas took off and others, well, they were a total bust. Man, this slide is the perfect reality check. On the left, we've got an idea a ton of students have, selling their class notes online. He tried for 2 whole weeks, and the result? 0. Absolutely nothing. Why? Because the competition was just insane. But on the right, freelance video editing was a certified hit, earning 800 rupees per reel. The difference is crystal clear. Editing was a valuable skill he already had, backed by a portfolio. The notes, they were just a commodity in a totally flooded market. But, and this is a big but, let's talk about what that freelance success actually cost him. This was not easy money. It took a full 8 hours of solid, focused work to edit just one short reel. That's a huge time investment, and it really shows you the trade-off you're making when you're selling your hours for money. And this quote from the guy who did the experiment, it just hits different. You know, unlike the creator manager job, which was a lot of outreach and emails, this was the first money that came from what he called real hard work. He physically sat in a chair for 8 straight hours to earn that money. That's real sacrifice. All right, now for the part you've probably been waiting for. Let's talk about the 2 methods that get all the hype online, trading and content creation. You know, these are the ones where you see people flashing fancy cars and promising you'll get rich overnight. So, what's the actual truth? So yeah, this slide just completely demolishes the myth that trading is some easy get-rich-quick scheme. The reality was a punch in the gut. First off, it is not a zero investment skill. He had to put up $500 of capital just to play the game. Second, the learning curve was massive. It took him 6 to 7 months of intense studying. And the reward for all that time and money? About $2 a day. The verdict is pretty clear. For a student starting with nothing, this is just not the way to go. Okay, but then we have this, and this is where things get wild. For the content creation test, the plan was simple. Start a faceless Instagram page and just repost clips from an existing channel. The result was insane. By day 3, a video just blew up, hitting 600,000 views. By day 10, the page was already getting messages from brands asking for promotions. The speed of growth was just incredible. So you're probably wondering, what's a 10-day-old Instagram page even worse? Well, after getting some offers, he figured out the account could probably sell for around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees. Now, he didn't actually sell it. He decided it was better to keep growing it. But this just proves you can create a valuable digital asset like crazy fast if you're consistent and maybe get a little bit lucky. So, after a full 30 days of grinding, trying 5 totally different methods, some that worked, some that definitely didn't, what's the final score? What did we actually learn from this whole experiment? This scorecard breaks it all down plain and simple. Being a creator manager was a clear win. Selling notes, a total failure. Freelance editing also worked, but man, it was a ton of effort. Trading completely failed the zero investment rule, and content creation was a huge surprise success with massive potential for the future. So all in all, 3 out of the 5 methods actually worked. But honestly, the most important lesson here had nothing to do with the money. The creator said the most valuable thing he learned was the power of just being disciplined. He called it the art of being busy. By just keeping his head down and working on these projects, he stayed focused, he wasn't distracted, and he found a real sense of purpose. That work ethic turned out to be way more valuable than any money he earned. So look, what this whole thing proves is that earning online isn't some impossible dream. It is doable. The real takeaway here isn't about which single method is the best. It's about how you choose to invest your most precious resource, which isn't your money, it's your time. So the final question is pretty simple. Where are you gonna put your time?